4, 3, 2. Welcome to another in-betweener episode of Master 9 with our wonderful heroes. Wilda, the water being.
DM didn't like our shenanigans last week. We were bad.
Transient, the matter manipulator.
We only broke one or two plots.
Spencer, the super cat.
I was on the moon.
Dahlia, the living dead girl.
I gotta think about some shit.
And Jace Jules, the technomancer, gadgeteer.
Jules the Gadgeteer for now. Also, I don't know what's so hard to understand. You've been dead for months.
It's not actually with them right now, but yes.
We are still in between our current episodes at the moment, catching up on the legitimate life traumas and tribulations that our heroes are going through. Where we last left off, they were currently at the base doing deep checks amongst themselves with the recently innovated medical lab, finding out that Transient's body has taken several has had several modifications done to him since Truth's emergence through him for a minute, including but not limited to calcification of the small and large intestines, marbleization of the stomach, carbon monoxide liquid in bloodstream, body temperature sitting at 91 Fahrenheit. Yet no issues are felt. Carcinogens also being found in unhealthy amounts all throughout. And while also inspecting that, there are speculations about how the slag has been affecting everybody, including how Dahlia may have had her slag bypass her ability to resurrect in order to keep her moving, keep her aware. In a sick, twisted resurrection twist, they bypassed the heartbeat and just gave her movement. Wilder herself has is going through the is going through the astute realization that there may be a chance that her slag may have confused her natural meta state, or her natural meta ability for her actual state of being, which caused her to turn into water.
Well, the Angie.
Leaving her angry. Spencer has confirmed that he does care for Jace, does care for even Jules now, and is still trying to be the helpful cat that he is, despite making a mess on Mars and messing with the rovers when he shouldn't be, or his friends, clones, other selves. But that's neither here nor there. We pick up with I guess we can say with. Do we want to pick up with Jason or with Dahlia?
I think Jules was still in the lab, or are we moving forward from the lab incident?
We still haven't done Wilda's body scan.
Didn't Wilda run out?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
Then
Transient was hugging me from behind and I was slinging ice.
Hmm. I guess we can pick up there, unless the DM has other plans.
Dude, I am honestly winging this right now. I don't have any other plans for your guys' own in-betweens. The laboratory medical center seems to start shifting around as it prepares for the next test to be performed. As Transient, your already off the table. I assume you're already, as Puddle already said, you're hugging Puddle at the moment.
Yep. Trying to calm her down. I don't think it's working.
Well, that your mom, who is currently operating the table, looks over to you. All right, this should be just about ready. You're still wanting to do this, hon.
I don't think I have a choice, Mother. The room just gets colder.
Okay, hop on in.
I unstick from transient because, ice between us. And go and lay on the table.
All right, you lay on the table. This is some words and starts doing the scanning like it did with transient. The group is able to watch as the computers are scanning, doing several scans. The images do show. Images on the screen do show your form. Um, from what you can see off the top of your head, out of the corner of your eye, Wilda, body readings are almost showing normal, standard.
They
About
should not right
90.
now. She's freezing.
Okay, let me correct that.
She's
As your
effectively
body's
going ice, so that would put her below 32 degrees Fahrenheit.
your anger affects the temperature instrument as it attempts to check gauge your current body temperature, causing the system to have a hiccup as it has to register twice in order to confirm that your body is showing at about 15 degrees Fahrenheit and dropping. Several of the implements trying to register brain activity and brain waves seem to be unable to register as the implements have started to freeze, given how sensitive these items are. Your body even starts to your skin starts to feel like it's attempting to get stuck to the table with how constantly colder it's getting in the area. You hear from your mother, Wilda, I need you to calm down. I need you to relax. I can't get a full reading. The cold is starting to affect the machinery. Jules, is this normal?
Are you asking about the readings or it affecting the machinery? Because if it's affecting the machinery, then give me a second. And you will head over to one of the nearby computer terminals, move his hair out of the way on the front side of his head, and then plug a cable into a small slot on the side of his head and hook it into the computer. Would it be a technology check using Jules modifier?
Yeah, go for it.
Do I get any modifiers from computer mind?
Let me double check to see what computer mind does.
It makes me better at specifically certain checks. And it provides me the advantage eidetic memory, but it specifically empowers technology and vehicles checks.
Keep in mind, advantages subtracted 2, enhanced trade. I guess a +2 if I'm reading that right. To what you already have.
All right, then that would mean with my current modifier for Jules, this would be 27.
As you hook yourself up to the machine, trying to attempt to bypass, you are already picking up that several of the machines have stopped working because there's a physical complication due to the gold conductors not being able to send proper readings because they have frozen over. The room is still getting colder by 0.1 degrees and dropping per, I guess we can say, minutes. Couple minutes even. It's not as quickly, but it is dropping slowly as you or linger around Wilda more and more. Wilda, the systems are actively trying to continue scanning you with Jace trying to give an extra boost.
Poor Jules not getting acknowledged.
I'm gonna have to add that to his complication notes. Anyways,
You are currently being acknowledged by Spencer, but unfortunately his brain is short circuiting.
yeah, with that in mind, Wild is obviously upset and not gonna warm up at all. Machines are gonna keep malfunctioning if they keep getting lower temperature. Ironically, in a much earlier capacity compared to original Jace, can Jules use some of the spare parts he keeps around Jace keeps around the lab and his expertise fabricate to try and see if he can make something to keep the machines warm to finish out the scan?
Yeah, go ahead and give me your fabricate roll, I guess.
23.
You were able to come up with a couple of magnetic heaters that should be able to at least keep the conductors in question from freezing over. It takes an extra minute, causing Wilda to be stuck in the table a little bit longer.
I should probably mention, Wilda does not have any protections against cold. So her hands are starting to turn red and then black.
I guess this would be the ideal time for this then. I guess after I set up the magnetic heaters, if Transient doesn't want to step forward and take initiative, I can try and use nano healing to fight off frostbite.
Marla is looking around, and when she notices that you're starting to suffer the first stages of frostbite, she does look around. Can anyone do something to warm her up? I don't think she's used to her own cold. Please.
Question, GM.
Yes?
Can I tap into the cat soul?
Into the what?
The cat soul.
Whose cat soul?
My cat soul at this point.
Remember from when he ate the cats?
Eating the cats did not make you.
Remember with Weatherman? Where he started acting like a cat for a few episodes because he ate a cat?
Yes, but that was just him like exhibiting the symptoms of the soul that he was consuming off of. Right now, what
He
he's
wants-
suggesting is trying to use Edict Memory to harken back to that cat mindset, or cat-like mindset, without a jump start.
I mean, he could jumpstart. Apparently, Spencer's in the room.
Only if Spencer's willing to let me nibble.
You want a bite? As he offers you part of a frozen pizza. He's gonna look down at Buttle. He's gonna look back at you. Gonna look back down at Wilda. Gonna look back at you. She
Does
looks
anyone
cold.
have mittens for her, please?
I would
Sorry.
like to hug Wilda.
It doesn't work if it's coming from inside.
All right, give me a second. Jace will put 2 fingers on her shoulder and activate nano healing, which is nano healing 10.
You mean Jules?
Yeah, Jules. Me not acknowledging him is going to take the longest, and that's probably going to help contribute to his arc when even his own fucking psyche doesn't recognize him.
Oh, that's bad.
Don't touch me.
Would
You
you
saying
rather?
that, Spencer?
No, that's the Jules.
Okay.
All right. He will take the 2 fingers off your shoulder and stop using nano healing.
What do I have to roll to try and warm her, DM?
I need from you a toughness check to endure the cold that she's actually exuding. Then I
Give
need.
me a moment. Then you need what?
I'm trying to think on this because you're trying to offer body warmth to someone who's exuding cold.
Yes.
And in trying to do that, you're trying to override her own body temperature. I want to say fortitude.
Fortitude? Okay, I've got pretty good on that.
No, that's for Wilda to roll.
Oh. Do I roll toughness then?
Yes, you roll toughness. She rolls fortitude. You
Okay.
roll toughness because you're enduring cold onto
Well.
your into the brutal body.
That's a
She
natural point.
is being actively attempted to be warmed up, but because we're are you Puddles? Are you actively resisting warming up, or are you accepting the warmth?
Yeah.
One more time.
I'm resisting. I do not want to be touched right now.
By
Spencer,
anyone?
By anyone.
Oh. Well, that's not going to stop me, but go ahead.
Spencer, you try to exude warmth into her, but there seems to be a layer, a very thin sheen of ice that keeps your fuzzy warmth at bay from her. As she just continues to be angry at the current situation rather than let herself find a way to calm down and resolve.
Okay.
The instruments are able to pick up a bit better now that they're warmed up, but with you enduring, well, that your fingertips do take on a almost bluish tinge, the first signs of legitimate frostbite. When papers start to pop out from above the from the section above the table. Finally, okay. All right. Well, you can go ahead and get off the table. Please relax, hon. Your mother says as she goes over. She saw how you reacted to being touched by Jules, so she doesn't offer a hand, try to touch you. She grabs the paper and goes into pure focus mode to start seeing what all she can, what all the machine is able to tell what's happening with you. Huh. That's interesting. That's curious. Excuse me, Jace, Jules, young man. Is there is there a cabinet full of any type of liquor around here, or any form of alcohol?
I've got. Well, I have straight ethanol to use for a few machinery purposes, but I'm not sure if that's good for anything else.
He frowns. Guess I'm doing this sober. She
If you
sits
do
over in the
anything
corner too.
sober.
Believe you me, hon, I've done plenty sober. As she begins flipping pages, trying to understand what she's reading. The room is still perpetually getting colder, as Wilda is still emitting a cold anger, given the current circumstances. Well, you yourself are starting to feel like you don't even want to belong in the room with how upsetting Jules' words have been, how upsetting just being who you are right now is. What do you want to do?
I'm waiting for the results before I storm off. I will say that this is probably the first time any of the machines have ever picked up on Wilda's ice powers.
Which is fair. Which is fair. The machines haven't really been picking up a lot. Of course, then again, new system, new updates, new sensors.
No, it's just Wilda's never been able to manifest her ice powers unless unless she's angry.
Well, there was the belt.
Yes, before the belt.
No, I'm just saying there would be records because the belt was used for ice powers once.
Fair. Also, you didn't say if Transit could get into his cat soul.
You know what? Yeah, go ahead. Go for it. What does your cat soul want to do?
Well, that depends. Do you want me to roll for it? And if so, what
Sure.
do you want me to roll for it?
It would be a will save as you're trying to muster it through fragments of memories. Well, not fragments, through your earlier string of memories while being under the influence of the cat soul. So
Alright.
will save, please.
What's the DC?
Given your current states, let's say 22.
19.
1 degree of failure. The memory is there, but the taste is out of touch. You aren't able to fully replicate the cat
Hold on.
antics.
Would you consider this as part of my eidetic memory or not?
I did say that.
Okay, then add 5 to that. That's a 24.
All right, then you are able to. The memory does come back to you a little, quite easily. The air of regalness, the sense of empoweredness, the identity of being a god on 4 legs echoes through you. What do you do with it?
Looking at a bristling wolf tail right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make a pounce.
I mean, yeah, that pounces.
You catch the tail. Well, the tail that that feels like yours, but it still has that new sensation to it, is now being grabbed at and successfully pinned down by Edward.
What are you doing?
Well, someone's got to get this energy out of my cute, adorable human.
There's a blush.
It's a faint blush, but it's a blush.
Yeah, I guess there's not much blood going to her face because of how cold it is.
As you two are having your personal moments, the mother
Mhm.
hymns and hums. What the heck does that mean? Hmm. Do you have a dictionary around here, Jules?
I can probably just pull it up in my brain. What do you need a definition for?
Uh, you make sure that the word even exists. So give me 1 second.
Find this.
I just got an idea.
Which is? Oh,
GM, are we? Am I like? Where is this? Is this facility underground? Just let me ask that first.
Yes.
yes, it's underneath the Charles
Entertainment
Charles
cheese.
Entertainment. Yes, Charles Entertainment cheese
It's the base.
site.
Okay. Here's my question. When it comes to, I want to ask you this. So, is it possible to fly to other countries within the time, within like a minute or so, using my speed?
Your speed?
You reached Mars in less than 10 minutes.
Well, let's call it less than 10 minutes then.
No, let me reiterate that. You reached Mars in less than 10 minutes, something that is the equivalent of about 30 Earths.
I'd say it'd take a few seconds, maybe. So here's my question, DM. Is it possible for me to fly to Japan and buy something to eat and then come back?
Yes.
With what? You already used your last dollar.
Yeah, you
Now
used all your
listen.
money.
Listen, I used all my money, but my clones have
Used
money.
all their money for the pizza.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I defrauded the. I deep. I
You
You
defrauded
defund-
a pizza. You defrauded a pizza place.
yeah, that's right. Anyways,
You defrauded Pippi's Pizza, man.
listen, I didn't mean to. That pizza's just too good.
They had to like rechange their name and change it to Cece's.
My God, Cece's Pizza. It's where it all begins. But to be very honest, I'm gonna look to Mom and I'm gonna go, "Hey, Mom."
Okay. She looks over to you and openly asks, "What's ectoplasmic dissolution?"
That sounds like. Do you want the in character response or the above board response?
By all means, for our listeners at home, torture them.
She was talking to Jules, so let's see what Jules has for this.
That's a good idea. Let's listen to Jules and then get the fact check.
Ectoplasmic typically is used in, well, circles that refer to more supernatural entities, but considering all the shit that my companion, counterpart, whatever you want to call it, has seen, probably paranormal stuff would be an existing entity to worry about. Dissolution would likely refer to the loss, or, well, rather, the process by which a solute in a solid, liquid, or gaseous phase dissolves in a solvent, which leads me to believe that based off what you are describing, some kind of supernatural or preternatural force connected to the human soul is in the process of being dissolved by a solvent. Is that what I'm getting at?
Above board, like, you really think your med bay is able to scan souls at this current moment?
Probably not, but she said ectoplasmic disillusionment. So, I mean, dissolution. And based off the words, with no context, I haven't read any reports. She's asking me. I'm telling her what that means in a literal sense based off my understanding. You didn't ask me to read a report and tell her.
Would you like to know what
You-
Spencer thinks it means?
Go ahead, Spencer. Go.
He's gonna go something along the lines of, "That sounds like taking a ghost and putting it in a blender, but I don't know why you'd want to do that. I don't think they taste very good, and I don't think they'd like it very much." Above board, ectoplasmic dissolution is probably referring to the fact that in an amoeba there is the cytoplasm and the ectoplasm. The cytoplasm is a dense part of the cell that basically walls things, or the often granulated part of the cell cytoplasm. The ectoplasm is the outer non-granulated layer of basically all the goo that makes the cell what it is. So like you're taking a cell and taking its inner guts and dissolving it or making a solution of it to a certain degree. Basically, amino acid smoothie. That's what I'm thinking of.
Her cells are breaking down to the point of where their cellular walls are just bursting.
Pretty much. Which basically happens when you go through hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, frostbite.
Well, if that's the case, well, I'm. Good news is we should be able to keep you alive, and we should be able to figure this out. Hopefully sooner, maybe within a year now. Your mother says without deterring her eyes from the paper as she's double checking back and pages.
Please ignore this D4 I'm about to roll. It's for something behind the screen.
That's fine. She will say, "You may want to." I You may want to increase your electrolyte consumption. If I'm reading this part right, definitely shows that you're losing a lot of.
No stress.
Why would I need to increase my electrolytes, mother?
Well, if I'm reading this, a lot of your electrolyte minerals, including potassium, is being pulled into your ice formations. Part of what's keeping them crystallized. Your water form seems to be exhibiting the exact opposite. Honestly, this honestly, Jules' system is showing that you have gone through different variations of ectoplasmic dissolution, mostly dealing with your own internal organ, specifically your pancreas.
Also, she can't be mad around cat transient, so she's starting to. It's starting to warm up, and she's starting to shake from the complication of using her ice.
You'll definitely be able to get a Benny from that next session. I will say it's probably good that you haven't been exposed too much to any electricity. The one time that the one time recently was definitely a scare and it didn't happen. But if this is showing right, then honey, if you find yourself getting cooked, there's a chance you could be. She stops. She's like trying to find right words to say.
I could be killed.
She puts the paper down, looks over. The long skinny of it, yeah. What are you doing, Edward? Edward, you have Marla staring at you.
Looks at her directly in the eye, blinks twice, turns around and continues to try to pounce on the tail.
Marla squints her eyes, looks over at Wilda, sighs. Oh, at least she's in a better mood.
You say that, but the frostbite's actually moving up. I'd probably sit down next to him so that way he can, properly pounce it since it's not that long.
Wilda, are you okay? Your mother asks.
This always happens after the ice.
Okay. Sorry, thinking to myself.
Yeah, I figured that's what would happen. Yeah, for your information, GM, that was my perception roll.
He's laser
Yep,
focused.
all you see is the tail that wags and flits, and once it moves in the right position, you pounce on it again.
Yeah, for you folks at home, that was a nat 1 on perception.
Hmm.
Nuclei for ice.
If you're wanting to know what effectively happens to a cell when it is frozen, the ice effectively punctures a cell wall and causes the rest of the cell to effectively break apart.
Hmm.
Again, for those of you at home, that's what happens when you leave your steaks in the freezer for too long. That's what freezer burn is.
Yep. Honestly, if the table were to measure her temperature, it's actually lower than transients right now. Her body temp.
Last register it got was at 15 and dropping. That's how bad
I'm
your cold
saying
was
that
at
it would
15 in the
be
system.
89 is what I'm saying. But yeah. She's having rebound right now.
I want to say this would be a good point to jump over to Dahlia and let her express her current depression. Dahlia, you have been sitting. I want to say, are you still in the base with the group?
Actually, she's gone and climbed the water tower.
Which water tower?
The one close to home.
The one that got stolen by Vumhilda and
Oh, no.
that one has not been returned yet. That's what was going to be next session's.
The one she was found at. I don't know. I don't think that's the one at her home. She has her learner's permit now, so she went home. Her mom's asleep after getting because she works nights, so she's sleeping in. She just decided to borrow the car and drive.
All right, go ahead and give me a vehicle roll to see how well you're driving. And you're driving to where a nearby water tower is, so you can just.
It was
stand
one of
up.
the earlier ones, where she was first recovered.
Mm.
So let me. I need to find her sheet real quick. I actually haven't had to roll anything yet, so I didn't have her sheet up. Whoops. There she is. All
Your
right.
vehicle is a +9 without
Yep.
a rank. Checking.
18.
All right. It takes you a few minutes and a couple of close seconds stopping in order to avoid driving through a red light, but you're able to make it over towards.
Okay. She just climbs up. They've got the ladder on the side. She just keeps going numbly until she gets to the top, sits down, pulls out the dinky phone that she has that's for emergencies only, so she doesn't use it. And she calls her dad. She knows he doesn't keep his phone on him when he is working, because he's not supposed to. So she waits till it gets the message, and she says, "Hi, Dad. I don't think I could say this to your face, but when you found me, You said that you thought I was dead at first, but that I wasn't. You were lying, weren't you? I guess I always thought having superpowers would be cool, like in the comic books, and sometimes it is, and it's nice to do something with my friends, but parts of it really, really sucks. I'm tired all the time. I'm hungry all the time. And they're better at hiding it, but my friends are scared of me. And I guess I just kept hoping because so many of my teammates are so smart that maybe, one day it'd be like in the comics where we have to give up our powers for a greater cause. And then I just go back to being Dahlia and it would be okay. But I don't know. I'm starting to think that I'm not gonna get better, Dad. And my powers aren't. Getting rid of my powers would mean getting rid of me. So I'm never gonna get better. And it's never gonna be. I'm always going to be like this. And I'm always going to be dangerous and scary. And I don't know what to do, Dad. I'm at the water tower. I think I'll just stay here for a while. I love you. And she hangs up. And that's Dahlia's scene.
Dahlia, before we shift scenes again, as you're sitting on the industrial water tower, the industrial sector's water tower, I should specify. Make your phone call. Of course, goes into your dad. Goes to your dad's voicemail. This is Mr. Blake, hiding from the government, as you can see. Just leave a message, and if I can get to it after making sure it's green and you're not a gubbo, give you a call back.
Yeah, so Dahlia leaves her message and she actually turns her phone off and just kind of like sits and stares off into the distance.
It's as you're staring off the distance, you hear a somewhat familiar voice. You haven't heard this voice as often. If anything, you probably only met her the one time when the boys that you distracted with way back on the day of first day of school before the school exploded. When you went with them over to their hideout to go hang out a bit and meet some of their friends. That's where you meet. That's where you met this. To see if I can find out where I put it at. This is what I get for not having like those neat little like tidbits that you could mark down and say, "This is where it's at." The woman is named Celine. She looks maybe 3 to 4 years older than you. Definitely doesn't look like she's in high school anymore.
Is she on the water tower with me or is she passing below?
She's on the water tower with you, as she mentioned. As she opens up with, I didn't think anyone else would enjoy the sights here.
Dahlia kind of shrugs awkwardly and try to like hunches over like to hide her face.
Yeah, I think I've seen you around. You were hanging around. God, what was their name?
Jeremy and Ted. I just threw 2 names out there for you if you want to use them.
No, because I had used a different set of names before. It's like Wedge and it wasn't Wedge and Biggs. It was not Wedge and Biggs. Although I really want to lean back into.
It was Wedge and Biggs.
Was it really? It was Wedge and Biggs.
Yep. The two that she took with her to the arcade, along with I can't remember the fire dude's name.
Tyrone.
Along with Tyrone.
Ironically, I have his name down, Brad.
So she said that asked if I knew Pyro.
No, she makes mentions of Marcos Biggs and Dennis Wedge. Those were the names I was hunting. So it was Biggs and Wedge.
I don't remember those people, Ace. Who are they again?
The people you kicked their asses at the arcade with.
Oh yeah, okay.
So yeah,
Oh.
back during the initial meetup at the school, and when it was revealed that one of the kids had developed similar powers to Wilda, but rather than being a water being, they were a fire being.
Yeah.
And were being slowly coaxed into this one gang that was going to try to utilize his fire powers for nefarious deeds.
This should kick the memory into gear for you, Dahlia. Cannibal
I remember now. The ones who we did Soul Calibur or whatever.
Yeah, Soul Calibur, then
And Dolly played Ivy. She says, yeah, I hung out with them once or twice.
I think they had brought you over to the I thought you were gonna stop back by after the first time you were at the base, or did you not like the music at the time? You recalled it. Sorry.
I got grounded.
Okay. Now that makes sense. Strict parents, huh?
She looks down at her powered off phone and says quietly, sometimes.
Yeah. It can be a drag. They can be a drag. Well, at least they care about you.
Yeah. She says she's getting choked up again. Yeah, they care. A lot. Probably more than they should.
What are they doing? Being suffocating? Trying to push you into a bunch of school activities?
Not really. It's complicated.
She sits next to you and pats you on the back. Well, it's okay, darling. Everyone can, whether by accident or by meaning, can become a bit much for people to handle. Even parents. Whatever's got you down.
Mad at them, I don't think. I'm more. One of my friends said something that was true, and I didn't realize it was true, even though I should have, and I kind of knew. Now I'm just not sure. I thought I had a future, and I don't.
Shit, if I hadn't heard that 50 times over this year alone.
Does it come with any solutions?
Not yet. But it's led to the base being made. A place for folks like you to come by, hang out. Hopefully catch a tail end or maybe a string to use to figure something out. If not, I'm sure we can give you something to do, something to distract you from the day-to-day pressures of existential crisis. God knows half of the people in this town or something. Just the other day, Sorry.
I was gonna say Dahlia's gonna look up at her. Fearsome presence is gonna activate. So she's gonna need to make a will save.
Let me double check one thing. All right. What was the will DC again?
Only 14.
Despite your fearsome presence having scared multiple people and putting the fear of being murdered on the spot by most people, you see in her eyes understanding. Despite the fearsome presence that she's exuding, she doesn't seem to even flinch. It's when you notice that in her eyes, it seems that there's very faint signs of like sparks all around her iris, stretching into the whites of her eyes. They're great at this. The iris that the blue iris that gazes back at you, don't seem to be shocked, scared, upset, or even laughing. They seem to be staring with understanding.
Cool to hang out. So I wouldn't Dahlia shrugs one shoulder. I wouldn't bother you or anything, right?
And I've seen so many people come and go in my place. Shoot, there was this one guy who had a mouth in his stomach. It was wild.
That sounds efficient. She offers a awkward grin.
Yeah. Used to act as kind of like a older brother to the place. But then about a month ago or so, said he said he got a tip, something about a big payout. Him and a few of the others went out, never came back. At least
Does
all but.
Dahlia recognize his description?
Let me double check your thing as this description is going on. Someone you do hear like flapping of someone approaching. You do have eating memory, which is total recall. There has only been one person who has a mouth and gut from what you recall in conversations with your group, since you yourself didn't interfere with that fight. But you have heard of how insane Maneater Greg was. And almost
Dahlia was there for that. No, wait, no, she wasn't. No, she wasn't. I was just listening in and commentating on that one. Huh. Was his name Greg?
Dude, yeah. Can't believe how common the name Greg is.
I really hope he's not the Greg my friends told me about. Because, he was trying to eat people. I mean, not that I've got room to talk, but he seemed happier about it than I am.
You see her cross her arms as she takes a deep breath and looks out towards the horizon. Can you find out that people all over the world have different tastes? Just because you grow fond of it doesn't mean you should overindulge in it. But just saying
So
something from me, because I run a rave house so often. I can still hear the beating in my head. Thank goodness the music's good. But no, you shouldn't hold yourself. You shouldn't hold your own personal taste, as bad. And yeah, he called himself Maneater Greg. Honestly, I wasn't even sure if he even took a bite off a person, but I don't know.
from what I heard, yes, he did. And
wow.
yeah, it's look, I may be the scary one in our group, or at least the first one who looks scary, but I don't actually want to hurt people. And look, if this is a place where there could be bloodshed or something, I should probably stay away anyways. But thanks for offering, I guess.
Anytime. But if you ever feel lost, don't be afraid to bring that soul over to the rave house, okay? She gets up. We're always accepting new members,
Dahlia's
new people.
gonna roll insight because it seems they're friends with Maneater Greg and also are telling her, no, cannibalism's not wrong. So Dahlia's like, please don't Magneto me. Please don't Magneto me. 19.
While she's definitely not saying cannibal is okay, she has not stated cannibal is not okay. As she begins to carefully descend off the water tower, step by step, hovering in the air, ever so carefully.
Dahlia's gonna make a note to keep an eye on this rave of hers because Dahlia just has a bad feeling about it. But I imagine around then she sees a black blur because I imagine someone's got zoomies by this point.
Right. Um, as you watch her take a few steps down, she will turn around. Catch her around. What's your name again?
Dahlia.
She waves a hand. Selena.
Dahlia waves back
And as you wave and as she waves,
and blushes a little.
there's this there's this flutter of wings as now before you. Spencer, how would you describe yourself feeling at the current as you've been flying out? Took a moment to let the room breathe as you sort your own personal emotions out. Then found Dahlia sitting on top.
You're breaking up a little bit, man.
Sorry. How are you feeling at the moment, Spencer, as you left the base to go flying?
Pretty good.
Well, in your pretty good mood, you do happen to come across Dahlia, who is sitting on top of the industrial tower's water tower. The industrial sector's water tower.
I see.
You had taken a note that she seemed to have been talking to somebody, and as you turn back down, there seems to be a person who is now just reaching the edge of a rooftop.
Does she see me?
Let me make a personal roll.
I meant for both of them, but not just one of them.
I mentioned seeing a blur, so
Yes. Both have been able to see you. The one on the opposing roof distance gives a bit of a wave towards you.
He waves back. What does Dahlia do?
What does Dahlia do?
It catches sight of you and sort of like gives like an awkward half wave.
What emotions am I seeing on Dahlia at the moment?
You see some sadness, a little wariness, feeling awkward, and a hint of like Dahlia's usual curiosity.
Okay. Well, I would say that Spencer would flap on down and by flap on down I mean climb on up because he's not in his protector form, but I can fly up there. And he'll land next to Dahlia and just kind of sit down and then go, "What were you doing?"
Just thinking about some stuff. Sorry
Really?
for running out back there.
No, it's okay. People don't usually pay attention to me either.
Yeah, they got a lot of stuff going on. Good thing
Yeah.
we're pretty normal, right? She nudges him in the side.
It's like touching a brick wall, but still he moves so that, the nudge was real. That being said, he's gonna go, "Yeah, normal." I don't know what normal is. Is it a food?
No idea.
Well, I think you're pretty great.
You're pretty great too.
Nah,
Uh,
I'm just a cat.
well, cats in general are great, but you're pretty nice.
I guess so. I don't really know if I'm nice or good or anything. I just want to do the right thing. Or at least whatever feels right. It's been hard to do that lately. Everyone's
Things
been
keep getting more complicated. Do you ever wish it was like a Saturday morning cartoon where things are simple and here's the good guys, here's the bad guys, and we could all solve solve all our problems by giving a rousing speech and doing a team move?
Not really. I mean, sure, it's nice to think about life like a cartoon, but in real life, there's not always a happy ending. And that's okay. Nothing ever has to be happy all the time, because then you won't be able to enjoy them when they come around. If it's all the time, then you're just, you know, bored, I guess. But
Dahlia looks at you head on and sort of tilts her head a little bit and says, "You know, you're actually a really smart guy. You know that?"
he blinks asymmetrically. He's gonna go, "I don't know. A lot of people here think I'm really dumb, but I think I'm
Nah,
pretty smart."
I think you're smart. You're just quiet about it.
Well, if I said the right thing all the time, that wouldn't
Then
let
it
you guys
wouldn't
compare
be
us either.
special, right?
What was that?
Then it wouldn't be special, right?
Something like that. But you guys are heroes too. I, well, if I was the only hero here, that'd be kind of boring. And I think you guys are some of the best heroes I've ever seen, considering the rest of the town.
I guess so. There aren't
Well,
exactly a whole bunch of other heroes wanting to step up. At least
there's
not
a
that
bunch.
I've seen.
Well, there's a bunch of other people willing to step up and do the wrong thing. That doesn't mean it's okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes being smart hurts. So sometimes I do really stupid stuff, and it's fun. When
I'm
you're
not.
stupid, go ahead.
I'm not allowed to do stupid stuff because if I did, people could get hurt. So I have to be smart and aware at all times, even when it's really hard.
Well, you know that I'm pretty strong, right?
Yeah.
The important part about being strong is knowing when to cut loose. Like, you can't just be a tight spring all the time. You have to let loose of some of that tension. And sometimes it's okay if you're on your own, or if you're on the moon, or on that really big red planet I can't remember the name of. But
Are you talking about Mars or Jupiter?
they're both red, aren't they?
I think so.
One of them has a red spot and the other one's entirely red. But when it comes to being strong, the important thing to remember is that if you're strong, you have to be strong for other people too. Not everyone is as strong as you. And sometimes that means making compromises. And other times, it means feeling like you're alone. But most of the time, it means having a great time doing whatever you're doing. Like, DM, is there like scrap metal around me?
You are on
Maybe.
top of the industrial sector's water tower. There is at least 1 or 2 yards of random material meant for either being scrapped, picked up by scrappers, or repurposed for
I'm gonna
factory work.
I'm gonna hop
yes.
down, grab a really big steel bar, and then come back up, and then go, like, look, if I wanted to, I can make this a pretzel. Bends into a pretzel. But if I really want to think about things, I just fiddle with it like this, and he'll take it like it's a piece of string and just coil it around his arm, and then just kind of uncoil it and do that another time on the other hand.
I need to make a quick roll while you guys are having a discussion.
If the bar snaps and he's like, "Oh,"
And Dahlia points to that and says, "That part's the part I'm afraid of happening."
like what?
You know how I get hungry a lot, right?
Oh yeah, you tried biting me once, but that's okay.
Well, I don't like that I try to bite people.
Well,
And I know Wilda's scared of me. And I just kept thinking that maybe I'd get better someday and I wouldn't have to worry about biting people. But Jace, or Jules, I guess, he kind of reminded me that, or I guess got through to me that there is no getting better for me. And I guess I just needed to think about that for a while.
Spencer's going to hold out his arm to you, and he's going to go, okay, bite me.
Oh, what?
Come on,
But I don't want to. I don't want to hurt my friends.
Dahlia. I am asking you to bite me.
Dahlia's gonna make a
Will save.
Yeah, a will save.
Fair enough. This one is I don't know. Just make one. That's okay.
She is going to grit her teeth and look away and say, "No."
Okay. But I guess what I was trying to do is, even if you bite me, I'm not going to stop being your friend. I mean, there was that one time you got really out of control and Jace had to shock you a bunch, but he did that because, well, he's your friend. I mean, he hurt you, yeah, but he got better. And I've got to think of how to word this at like a 1 charisma kind of stat. Oh no, he's got 2 in presence. Never mind, I'm good.
Remember, that's above average.
Oh yeah, that's right. Give me a moment. Dahlia,
He's gonna.
when it
You have to
comes
forgive me. He caught me off guard.
when it comes to being a superhero, you have to understand that you're going to hurt people. And sometimes, or most of the time, it's not going to be intentional, but it's still going to happen. Like when I was holding up that family and I jumped out the window and cushioned the blow with my body, I'm sure some of them got hurt or cut up by the glass a little bit, but they were still okay. And sure, you might not be able to control when you want to bite someone, but with training and careful dedication and a bunch of practice and possibly a portable meat locker that I could carry, I think we could mitigate that.
Yeah.
You don't have to be afraid of yourself. And you don't have to be afraid of us either. We're pretty strong and pretty tough. Plus, we got a bunch of people to support us. So, even if you bite, Wilda, she's gonna be okay. She's just, you know, gonna be a little angry about it.
Wilda's still scared of me even when I'm not bitey.
Well, to be kind of fair, you do have that kind of, when like animals really don't want to be touched or like bothered, you have that kind of thing going on all the time.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's really me. I want to have friends, and it'd be nice to be liked.
Well, I
It's
like
just
it.
how I look.
Well, you know that I don't see people on the outside. I see them on the inside. And you're pretty great. And I like you. And you're my friend. But I understand why you'd think that you wouldn't be able to communicate or relate with other people because of your problem. But everyone's got problems. Everyone's got their own little thing they're not proud of, or things that they think are dangerous. Or, for example, I don't like water, but you don't see me and Wilda getting along horribly.
That's true, because you should be totally scared of her all the time.
Well, I'm not, because I know that, well, she can't control it. Well, most of the time, anyways.
Well, I wish other people were brave like you. But thanks for being my friend, Spencer. And
Sure.
she like swings an arm around your shoulders and gives you like an awkward one-armed hug.
I have to say this because Spencer would do this. He would give you a big, both armed hug and give you a big bear hug, squeezing you and like gently hugging you around. He's like, "Come here."
Careful with the strength. I don't want to have to like repair my ribs later.
Do I have to make a strength check to make sure her eye doesn't pop out?
For my sake, no. You hear her call. You calm down in the hug.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I just think it would be really funny if her eye popped out and she's like, "Oh man, my eye!" and I had to go down and try and find it.
No, no.
God help you if that happened, because then we'd be hitting some more precarious territory.
And then
No,
we'd have to
if
go
her-
find it because you know it's gonna bounce from that height, and so
I just love the idea. It's like, okay, so I found your eye, but a raccoon had it, and I had to chase him down.
We'll just keep the eyes inside the skull and just say you accidentally cracked the spine.
I think that's worse, but you know what? It's okay.
Not
Oh,
necessarily because she
wait.
can fix herself.
Oh, wait. You mean, is it like a cracked spine, like you crack their back and it's like a really good, like, oh man, that felt great? Or is it more of a, I think you just cracked my spine?
We're gonna
it
go with the
just
former
pops.
this time around. There's like
Man,
it's actually more
chiropractic
similar in
adjustments,
how you.
cat style.
It's like, yeah, it's more similar to how your
But
assault
Spencer's
rifle
gonna let go
sounds.
of you, and then he's gonna go, do you want to go anywhere?
Well, I did hear about a rave place. I think they're up to something.
Dahlia?
Could be aliens.
Okay, my computer shit the bed.
You good to hear? Are you able to hear us?
Yes, now I am.
Huzzah.
Dolly was saying, I heard about this rave place. Anyway, they gave some weird vibes. Could be aliens involved. You up for the challenge?
Spencer's gonna go, yeah, aliens aren't really scary. They're just normal people out in space.
That's what they want you to think. Right up until they have instituted human breeding programs.
How much?
Do you want me to check if the aliens are okay or not?
Let's just scope out the rave.
Okay. I need to roll something as an intelligence check for Spencer because he may think that you're talking about a rave like in space and he would try and find a party in space. Oh man, give me a moment.
Well, she did mention that there's a specific rave she wants you to check out.
It didn't say where it was though. Let's check. My intelligence is a 0. Curse you, high rolls. Anyways.
Going for the best. I don't think Dahlia needs to breathe, but she's not immune to explosive decompression with the pressure change.
Spencer is, and he can transfer that to other people.
Oh, okay.
That's how he accidentally may or may not have sent off one of his clones into space inside of a spacesuit from the moon.
Which I believe we have officially agreed he was not growing a gray beard because your clones seem to have eternal life.
Still really funny, you gotta admit.
Oh yeah, it's also funny to know that even if he doesn't die from desuffocation, the fact that there is a Schrodinger's cat floating in space in a suit. Schrodinger's suit is now in existence thanks to this. We can't
Yes.
tell if there's a cat that's dying or is mildly amused.
Oh, he is very, very
Oh,
dead.
you love it.
You don't know unless you check, and that's Schrodinger's cat.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a suit.
DM, I think the best part of this is that theoretically, because this is DC Universe coded, you could make that cat Doomsday.
You could have an evil Spencer.
You could. You could. You
Ammo
left
to
me
use
behind, brother.
Ammo to use for the BBG.
My god, it's Spencer, and he doesn't have any moral qualities to him. after like
Uh,
500 years. They're coming back, right?
Hey,
Right?
Wilda, is that Spencer over there? But Spencer was supposed to be saving a bank. You think he ran up ahead of us? We'll go say hi. Hey, Spencer. You and that other me left base.
Nice. He's
Friends.
it's very funny to me to imagine, how dare you? I spit on you, good sir.
Now I'm going to commit the one thing that I know will
Instead
drive
of
you
being
mad, just as
really
mad as
evil, he's
I
just
am.
British.
I also believe that after going how long through space, I believe you. I believe that Space Cat would have a mental issue.
I mean, he's dead. But still, yeah.
Dead, could be picked up by rando aliens. I'm still working on it.
Experimented on by random aliens, brought back to life by technology.
No, aliens experiment on clone
Ebby has
Spencer.
vetoed that idea.
Oh.
Which one? Which idea got vetoed by Ebby? Please.
All of it.
Did you even hear him?
I heard him meow, and he's staring at me like something's wrong.
Was it Space
Opinion.
Cats?
Okay.
He's a half loaf because his tail's out, and it's flicking.
So yes, it was Space Cats.
Apparently.
Well, forgive me for coining a Edworld cartoon.
Sorry, the cat vetoed it.
I love Edworld.
Come on, Brain, why can't you give me any ideas? How about Space Cats? Space Cats? Why didn't I think of that?
You did. Oh, thanks, Brain. Hey, Tom, guess what? Alcohol. Drunk science.
Anyway, so whose scenes are next, DM?
Want to say we can flicker back over to Jules. Would this be the right time for you and Jace to have your eternal switch again, or did you still want to allow time?
Not
For
quite
something else.
yet. There's one thing that Jules wants to do to set the stage for something, and then we can probably call it there for Jules for interlude stuff.
All right. Go and then we'll. What were you going to do, if you don't mind me asking?
He wants to seek out either the Follinger parents and Miss Thrussell, or Stringent. He just needs somebody who can read a medical chart's not the right term. The device that keeps a read on vitals that they usually have in hospital rooms. I'm forgetting what it is off the top of my head.
EKG.
EKG. He needs someone who can read an EKG for something. Because would you like to know what the D4 I asked Dahlia for was earlier, and the D4 I rolled earlier?
Please inform the DM so I can at least have some, inkling of what the hell my players are doing behind my back.
It was blood type.
AB positive?
Or
Not-
negative.
Not AB positive or negative inherently, but since we both got the same one, which was a roll of 2, based off the chart I was looking at, that would mean we're both Bs. And
Which means
I
you
would have
accept-
expected Dahlia's power to make her AB positive so she could be the ultimate consumer.
I mean, that doesn't change things at that point, as long as Jace is something other than AB negative. The point being, with Jules having that information in mind, and because he does care about Jace, even if Jace doesn't fully comprehend his existence yet, he wants to help Jace retain what little he has, and he knows Jace has his friends. And he also knows, because he's been secretly helping on all the notes whenever Jace is unconscious, about what the condition with Dahlia is. And his thought process was, using the regenerative and healing abilities of the armor, theoretically, if he had someone who could keep watch to make sure nothing goes wrong, he could extract a piece of tissue from his own heart and then quickly regenerate the missing piece, and then use healing to grow a new heart from the extracted tissue and try a transplant to give Dahlia a functioning heart to keep her from decaying for a while.
That's not going to last long because tissues, there's still tissue and nerve death that's needing to constantly be regenerated. It's not just the heartbeat.
Yes,
whole
but it's
system's
something for the
necrotic.
time being, is what he's thinking.
Yeah, it could probably give her a couple hours.
It also, if he can get the copied heart to do a transplant in the first place, he would be able to see, because obviously Dahlia in her current condition can't die anyways, if transplanted tissue will then be kept alive by her persistence powers, or if it will die like the rest of her. And if it is kept alive by her powers, then theoretically, if any given piece of her decays so much that it is unusable, theoretically he could come up with a way to produce a transplant for that so that she doesn't just completely...
Like that urban legend of the doctor who has to, who unlocked the secrets to eternal life, but he has to replace all his body parts every 100 years.
Something along those lines, yes. The idea being, if he can figure out a way to at least keep replacing the pieces so she doesn't completely fall apart, he can work with that. It's just this is how he wants to start the test. And he needs someone who can monitor the vitals while he tries to extract that piece of tissue so that they can hard shut off the machine so nothing goes wrong.
So at the current moment at the base right now, Marla and Stringent are more than likely the closest to who you can probably go and pull the ear on for this. If you really wanted more, either robotic acknowledgement or mechanical acknowledgement, Kisaragi would be the more preferred one if you wanted to really be focused on the EKG's operating system. I'm not sure if there are any other adult with proper medical
I need someone
experience.
who can read the
Jess
EKG.
is a doctor.
That is true. I just don't know if Des is at the base.
Des is a doctor.
Is he at the base?
We don't know where Des is at. He hasn't been in any of these scenes.
Okay. In that case, he would probably see if he can get... Well, he doesn't need
you could always
anybody
shoot him a
running.
text.
True, he would probably shoot Des a text, and he would probably ask, in that case, Miss Thrussell. Because if he can get those two, one who's a trained doctor and one who at the very least can read the EKG and know when to slam the emergency off switch if need be, then he could theoretically go through with this test with the knowledge that it won't kill him.
Quick question, Dahlia.
Yes.
Are Dahlia's parents the paranoid type that would have kept Dahlia's umbilical cord to keep the government from getting any genetic research on her?
Why do you herpes?
Yes and
Or-
no. They kept it, but they ate the placenta and umbilical cord.
Okay, I was gonna ask about the placenta.
I need a minute.
I was like, well, this is going to be awkward because, I mean, yes, they would have kept it, but also they are just redneck enough to think that, oh, them's good eating. It's symbolic.
regardless of whatever the fuck that was.
I would like to say that many women do decide to keep their placenta, freeze dry it, and then put it into capsules.
Okay, cool. I'm not gonna
Yep.
read into that at all.
The only reason why I was asking about
Stem cells. Yeah, I know.
the umbilical cord was because the stem cells, specifically Dahlia's stem cells, which has all of her base genetic makeup without it deteriorating.
That would be good if they had it, but I'm working off the assumption that. Well, even if they did have that intact, like preserved somewhere in fucking formaldehyde, Jace wouldn't know that, and Jules certainly wouldn't know that.
Yeah, but no, they totally fried it up and ate it. They like deep fried it.
Anyways, DM, does Death respond?
You asked, and I immediately knew that was the truth.
Darling, can you pass the gravy? I need some more gravy on this placenta over here.
Them's good eating. Tastes just like the gizzards my ma used to make.
I'm sorry, I just imagined Larry the Cable Guy doing a fucking Prilosec commercial about eating placenta.
Oh.
Lord, please forgive my group when they're heinous talk about consuming baby
Don't
parts.
lump me in with them.
It's not a baby part. It's a uterine lining part.
I'll meet you down there with the pygmies down there in New Guinea. Amen.
I mean, technically, it's an organ that falls out after the baby.
Yeah. I
Yes,
think I
Coach.
managed to break the DM without any gifts involved.
I can't get the image. It's just pan frying.
The question had to be asked because 2002 was around the time that we started having cloned sheep, so.
I'm just. You have to forgive me. It's just like as soon as you brought up, like they probably ate it. It's just like Sharon looking over at Darren, and Darren is just like, you know, the Animal Planets do have a point. You could probably like do something with this.
That's like a pound of good meat.
But it makes real nice with some eggs. Just be like homemade chorizo.
Apparently, it's very irony because all of the blood.
Oh, my fucking ribs. Oh, my
Oh, that makes it high in iron and fiber then.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, jeez.
The more you know.
Oh, fuck. Oh, cramp. Oh, God, cramp.
So the question is, does that make it broccoli?
What?
I think we killed him, guys.
Worth it.
Well, it's about the end of session anyway, now that Ace is dead.
I guess Jules just doesn't get to do his thing then.
Sorry, GM kind of needed that.
Ace, are you okay, buddy?
I was not prepared for that one.
Oh gosh, you're just gonna make it worse. Ace, don't look at hashtags right now. Okay, he did.
DM, do we get a response from Deaths, or are we going with Stringent
It's
and
on mute.
Marlock?
Ace, buddy, you okay?
No.
I see. Just give me a second. Yes. Des does message back. Des does message back saying, "Give him one moment. Where do I meet you?" I can't get the fuck out.
At the base would be the response. He would know where the base is. He's been down here before. He's got an access card.
There is a there's like a yeah. There's just a K from him, and it takes about maybe half an hour or so before
That's fine.
there's an acknowledgement from your systems as the whirring from the elevators kick on, as Des
I imagine
does
that time he would have also gotten Miss Thrussell and informed her that he would need her help with a procedure, and she would be working with Des, hopefully.
Yes, you are. Oh, you managed to bring both of them over to. Are you using the same med that was used earlier, or is there a different operating med room that you wanted to use?
It's technically the same med room, but there's like an isolated surgical area for emergency situations, and this is where he's having this procedure done. Also, because that's probably going to be on the more soundproofed side, because he knows for a fact that with the way the device that helps him regenerate and will keep him from dying during this procedure works, anesthetics probably won't stick in his system.
I don't want to look at it.
He'd rather not disturb the entire base screaming in pain.
Fair enough.
So,
given your, are you trying to remain awake through this process, or are you letting the sedatives kick you into unconsciousness?
he would prefer to try and stay awake through the procedure.
I'm going to
Because
need
again,
to.
if he loses consciousness, then he's going to switch, and if he switches in the middle of this,
I will need a toughness check and a will check.
all right, let me jump over to his stats. Would it be Miss Thrussell ready to slam the stop button and Des monitoring my vitals?
Yes. I should have clicked on there. I should not have clicked on there. Yes, that's.
Six toughness.
Okay.
23 will.
As you're lying in the machine, you look over at Mrs. Thrussell, who is keeping an eye on your bio reading as well as double checking the EKG, and Des, who is acting as secondary and or replacement surgeon should anything happen with you mentally during the surgery. As you give them a nod to let them know that you're about to begin, they watch as one of the arms flitters down, and at first they were expecting some sort of like needle to start doing like local anesthetics. Instead, the sides of the machine come up and start emitting this like wave as this arm comes down, and it's more of like a pen light, except the light is intense and strong enough to start cutting down your sternum. The pain is intense, but you were anticipating this, thankfully. So you were able to bulk it out. And despite how searing the fresh new wound is and how jarring the sensation is when the metal arms come over to attempt to open up the wound a bit more, it becomes a lot, but you're able to keep conscious through it.
My question is, with a 23, am I able to prevent myself from screaming, or was the surgery room necessary?
The surgery room was necessary at the very beginning, as it's not voluntary. Your
Obviously not.
initial scream, yeah, it's not voluntary, but you're able to like get a grip and bite down onto your own teeth, not your tongue. You're able to like grit down your teeth and bear it after 2 seconds of the initial shock hitting you. You groan as your chest is now being exposed, the bone still there above where the heart plate is. As you move on to the next section of the surgery, go ahead and give me another will and toughness check, please.
Natural 20 toughness.
Why do I look at this?
24
Stop
will.
reading it, Ace!
I can't help it. You guys keep posting it, and I feel compelled to read.
I love the idea that somehow, even if he is obviously screaming occasionally from the pain, the superhuman willpower on display here to just bear it without anesthetic as his chest is cut open and his bones are, a slot is cut so that they can reach the heart. Obviously they have to cut into the ribs.
It is impressive, and you can hear the audible gagging coming from Mrs. Thrussell, as she seems to be having trouble holding her nausea in, watching you just bulk through this pain. Des doesn't give too much of a reaction, but nods at your ability to withstand the trauma that you're going through. You can Jules can see in Des's eyes like the years of being a field medic already kicking into play, as he's like double checking, your physical body as you're going through the trauma. You hear from Marla, do be careful, your heart's starting to pick up beating. Honestly, I'm surprised it wasn't picking up when you first started this, but now my body. Whew.
Hard part comes next.
As two arms come over to remove the bone to reveal the beating heart, I will need two toughness from you and a will save.
18 toughness, 14 toughness, and let me do will. 22 will.
The bone removal was hell. It was definitely a new hell you were not expecting, even with all the preparedness that you had. You found yourself shouting out again once the bone was properly moved out of place. The second toughness is so much more jarring, considering that despite all the intention, all the preparation, the sensation of the knife carefully gliding along the wall of the thickest part of your heart puts you in a mental edge. So much so that you find yourself screaming at that moment, despite still keeping the coherency to have the knife keep moving.
I imagine at that point, once the piece is extracted, one of the robotic arms quickly retrieves it and places it to the side, so that once the regeneration starts, Jules can immediately start focusing on trying to heal up a full heart.
Yes. Yes, yeah. You do see the piece, the very fine sliver that you extracted, be put onto a petri dish at the moment, and then put aside into one of the side panels as the machine starts working the regeneration properties of it. You start attempting to heal yourself. I will need this time a fortitude and a will check.
Fortitude. Okay, fortitude's not nearly as good as my toughness, but 24. Never mind. I'll shut the fuck up, Jules. I see. I won't argue again. 11 will.
As you are begin the healing process on your heart, since the waves of sickness and near death, this sudden drain from your face attempts to wash over you, and through it seemingly coagulating around your cheeks, you're able to mentally brush this past and keep your stomach contents inside, keeping yourself from vomiting into your own chest cavity. But in doing so, and trying to keep yourself from just losing everything inside, the machinery stop. You've lost concentration on keeping the machines moving. Upon noting,
The good news is the thing that gives me regeneration wouldn't be the machines extracting the heart piece. It would be part of the front part of the armor that he currently has open so this can happen. The stuff he's wearing over all of his body is what provides him with the regeneration factor.
right, it's just keeping yourself from losing your lunch at the sudden sensation of, oh fuck, my chest is open and I am taking a piece of my heart out of me. That kept you from being able to focus on keeping the machines moving. Thankfully, because you've already had preparations set. Once they noticed that the arms had stopped and remained still, Des picked up the pace, picked up from where you were at, and started moving. Started putting the bones back in place and suturing you back whole. Trying to recall Des's doctoring ability.
Probably better than mine or Will does, to be honest. If he was like a professional combat medic and like was dealing with triage, I'd imagine it's pretty damn good.
Also giving it an extra bonus given the medical facility that he's using.
I heard my name.
I was saying that your brother probably has really damn good treatment.
Probably.
It takes a minute to get used to the medical instruments that you've put up, as he is still used to being in-field, hands-on medic. But he seems to be able to pick up the proper sequencing in order to go through the motions of getting your chest recovered and rehealed. He takes a breath, noticing that your armor plate is actually helping with the recovering. After seeing the hearts having that short sliver cut off of the thickest part of it, regenerate that thin sliver, and then seeing the bones once barely put back in place already starting to reform and reattach itself through very accelerated cellular growth. It doesn't take long before you're put the hole in that you put in your own body is reclosed back, as despite losing it at the end, your objective in your surgery is successful.
Doing his best not to sit up too quickly, Jules would like to very carefully sit up as the nano armor is starting to reform over his now stitched shut chest. He is going to then start using the nano healing effect provided by the armor to try and grow this sliver into a fully functioning heart.
As you do get it all set up, have it start preparing to do the regeneration on the sliver of heart, you're given a time sequence. It's going to take roughly 2 days for the heart to fully be at working capacity.
Okay.
It's regenerating properly and fast. It's just you took a small sliver of your heart to
No, I
be
understand.
grown back into a.
He did a small sliver specifically because that was the only safe way this was going to work. But if he can get it to a point where it is at least stable, then he can move it to a point where the machinery of the main base can take over and continue regenerating. It's just right now he has to get it stable to a point where that can happen.
Fair enough.
Because if I recall, and this is a weird way to use this, but it is a function of the base. If I'm not mistaken, where is that base details? I know it's in here somewhere, damn it. Where is the mention of the subway station stuff? Does it not list it after Rockin' Prime anymore? It used to list it after Rockin' Prime. The thing was, the base had a function where it could automatically recover damages to itself, and I imagine for the purposes of this, he would have augmented that with the nanotechnology to automatically recover the heart.
Oh, I'm still on Dahlia's. One second.
Hold on, let me go over to his old sheet, because I know it was on Chapter 9, Jace's sheet. I didn't change anything with the subway. Yeah, okay. I don't know why it took all the details out. Maybe my sheet was too big. But it does have... Where is it?
Combat simulator, communications, computer, garage, infirmary, laboratory, living space, power system, secret 1, secretary system, security system 1, workshop.
I swear it had something about the base auto recovering, but regardless, he did make the nanotechnology in this base. I imagine he would have the capacity at this point to have the nanotechnology continue doing this, just separate from his suit.
All right. The time frame will not change, although you it does take you about a couple hours before you got it to stabilize on its own for the base to pick up the effort to continue revitalizing the heart sliver into a fully functioning heart.
At that point, once the base has it handled, by then it would probably be almost time for him to switch back, and he would probably ask, well, first and foremost, thank Des and Miss Thrussell for their assistance, because he would be very willing to admit that he would not have been able to do that alone. But after thanking them, he will denote that... Go ahead.
Bye,
Oh, that was a
Dahlia.
good night.
Have a good night.
Sorry about that.
Don't worry, we
That
all
said,
missed it.
yeah. That said, he will He will let them know. Again, thank you for your assistance. And because Miss Thrussell has obviously read the report and knows, Des probably doesn't, he's going to say that that was probably a lot more taxing than I was expecting it to be, although I don't know why I'm surprised. But it seems that I am going to be switching back to Jace sooner than anticipated.
I can only imagine the amount of trauma you just put yourself through would be one aspect of why, but understandable. Is there anything else we can help you with? Just hopefully not another surgery.
No more surgeries, no. I guess the one thing I would ask is that once the heart is regenerated, in case I'm not available at that time, and it's Jace instead of me, could either one of you possibly run a scan on the heart to see if it is under the effects of the slag, or if that sliver did not contain enough influence of the slag and it is a fully normal human heart?
Yeah, we can do some double checking.
That information, I'm sure, will be helpful in figuring out how to work on the slag cures for Dahlia and for Wilda. That said, I need to go find somewhere that's not a surgical table to lay down, preferably near Rock and Prime, so I can switch back.
Yeah. Do you need a help? Do you need some help? Des offers a hand, despite him also keeping a cane close by. Despite his back being fully functional again, he still seems to be
Adjusting.
Yeah, thank you. That's the words I was looking for. He's still adjusting to the sensation. So keeping a cane nearby has been his. Would say crutch?
Under normal circumstances, I'd say no. But right now, after all that, I think I could use a bit of help getting to Rock and Prime.
And thus, that Des does help you walk over to where Rock and Prime is currently stationed at, allowing you to. Sorry, go ahead.
Once we're at Rock and Prime, Jules will walk over beside the robot and sort of sit down for a moment, just kind of breathing heavily because the pain was a lot and the adrenaline is still leaving his body even after all this. And he will take a deep breath, close his eyes, and as he sits there, his hair starts to fade back to the reddish brown Jace normally has. And Jace wakes up, and I should probably make a will save for Jace because the pain did not go away, obviously.
No, it did not. You're healed, but the pain, but the nerves are screaming.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's 27 though, I guess. You know what? That's fair considering his backstory. He's like, fuck, it's like a Tuesday with Himmel. What the hell happened? Which I'm sure is probably more concerning for Marla and Dex, honestly.
I was like, I hope he's gonna be okay.
The fact that Jace is taking it better than Jules is actually probably very concerning for both of them, considering what they know now.
As you sit down, you take your deep breath. Des and Marla look at you as you pass out. There's an audible gasp from Des and from Marla as you go through your change and return back to Jace. When you do awaken and start complaining about chest pains, and compare it to another Tuesday with Dr. Himmel, Des shivers. It's okay, buddy. You're not there anymore. Marla looks at both you and Des curiously before taking a deep breath and going, "Are you hungry, young one? You've been out for a minute."
Yeah, I am. What happened? I don't recall. Never mind. Rockin' Prime, can you help me up, please? And Rockin' Prime.
powers combined! I am Rockin' Prime!
Along with the transformation, there was obviously the noticeable moments where they switched, and instead of the one base AI running off of Jules' brain exclusively, once Jace comes back online, all the AI come back up.
Feels. Have you played Fallout New Vegas? I have to ask this before I bring up the
I haven't.
thing.
I know a lot about it, but I haven't played it myself.
There is a downloadable content called the Big MT. And in it, there is a place that your character can technically bunker down and use as a base. And in it, you can restore several AI operated appliances, each AI having a different personality. And for some reason, it feels almost appropriate that as you come back up, one of your toasters immediately comes to life and goes, "I'll destroy everything in this world!"
Ah, yes, the Doomsday Toaster. I recall that. I know
I
about
love that guy.
Regardless, Jace, currently not feeling in his best conditions to try flying a apparently leg-based activity, is picked up by Rockin' Prime and I assume transformation back to wheelchair.
Remember, the technology is yours.
Then
Didn't get
yeah,
a chance to pull out a PSA yet.
once he's back in wheelchair form, Jace just takes a breather, and he's good to follow after Des and Marla. Is that something about food? He's not sure why he was on the ground near the elevator or why they look so concerned, but or why his everything hurts so much. But well, no, it's not that his everything hurts. It's just that the part of his body he can feel hurts a lot.
Right, as you're getting food, we'll flicker back over to Wilda and Transients. In your attempt to help heal Wilda and comfort her, you clap your hands, and the transient spark that normally would allow your alchemy to take off, fizzles over her icy outer shell that's like paper thin, and instead it results in this like it results in this like small steam that pops up around you two.
Ooh, it's getting steamy in here.
Is that what you wanted?
That's what I was going for, no. This one needs more work.
We still need to talk to Jace.
The room has grown more mildly temperate at the current moment.
Well, this temperature hasn't changed yet.
Understandable. I'm just saying the room has gotten a little warmer. You yourself are still cooling, but you're not actively freezing the room now, are you?
No.
You both do recall Jules having to step out and take your madre to go use a different part of the medical facility. Whether you chose to step out to let them use it or stay in there while they were using it, your choice.
Yeah, I'm not sure what we decided to do.
They stepped out to a different portion to the operation
Yeah, it
theater.
was like an isolated surgery room so that they wouldn't hear the screaming.
Okay, so yeah, they had you had watched Jules and your madre leave. There was a bit of a notification from the base's AI at the time about Des coming in, recognizing super citizen Des.
Waiting to hear Daniel's rant.
It's distant, it's far, but you can definitely hear it go, "Ah, Ryan, Ryan, assassin, stupid fucking damn machine! I pay more money." Yeah, pretty much something along those lines.
I wonder if he remembers that she'd never angered Doc.
Yeah. We should wait in his room.
Yeah, it might be best.
So you walk through the halls. The ranting does get a little bit more defined as you can hear Stringent now trying to placate Daniel. It's like, calm down, buddy. Listen, it's just a quirk of the AI. Quirk, pay good money. I bring everything that I've been working on here and everything. What have you brought in? What have you brought in? My ass. I fixed that wall. The chattering stops as the door closes when you enter into Jace's room. Would Jace be currently in his room, or did we agree that he is?
He would probably have taken his meal there and probably been encouraged to go get some rest after what he doesn't know he went through. So, yeah, they enter, and man, now that I'm realizing that because he switched back, he doesn't have the nano suit. Technically, he's just got the shirt on over very obvious line of stitches down his chest.
It's like you have a very thin shirt, and while from your perspective you don't like see it because the shirt kind of clings to you properly. From everyone else, the shirt is just thin enough to where they can see your your skin color bleeding through, and there's just like this very obvious like surgical scar on just like I want to say the left side of your sternum.
Probably like if we were dividing the chest into 5 quadrants, it would be along the line between the second quadrant from the left and the start of the center quadrant.
So it's about 10 minutes or so before he finally does enter, and waves at you guys.
Hey guys, what brings you by?
You notice Wilda's basically got black arms like to her elbows.
Oh, that's not good. Do you need help at all? Is everything all right?
We need to talk, Jace.
All right. He uses his technopathy to alter the room so there's seats for both of them. There's a table he can set his food on to the side, and then he will turn Rockin' Prime the wheelchair around so he can face the other two. What's going on? What can I help with? And well, no, you wouldn't know whether the surgical scar was before Jace shifted or not because he was wearing the suit the whole time the Jules was active, so it would be hard to tell.
Yeah. Well, it would sit down tenderly, kind of still shivering. You're experimenting on yourself, Jace.
Oh, yeah, the nanobot test. Admittedly, I probably should have gotten a supervisor for that, but at the time I was kind of overwhelmed with worry about you guys. didn't cross my mind, but as far as I'm aware, that's the only test I've done. I ran that test, and I haven't been able to get proper results, but that's part of why I brought Miss Thrussell and the Follingers down here, so there are more eyes if anything happens when I black out.
They'll be able to supervise something.
What do you mean by that? That sounded like something happened. Did something happen?
No, we got to see the state-of-the-art medical facility.
Oh, well, I'm glad that it... Oh, did it come in handy? I was gonna give you guys a tour at some point, but I guess you guys got to it first.
You can tell from how he's speaking, he doesn't recall even bringing it up, but is pleasantly surprised that you guys found the medical bay.
You can also tell that he's clearly slightly pained and sounds tired, despite the fact that he would have just woken up.
Chase, when did you get the stitches?
Stitches. He's clearly very confused by that.
Look down at your chest.
He looks down and goes to place a hand on his chest. He can't remember what Jules does, but he has eidetic memory. So I'm going to roll a will save real quick to see if that gap between being able to remember everything normally and not remembering this at all freaks him out.
By all means.
I'd say he's clearly shaken, but is able to maintain his composure. But it's clear enough on his face, even with his weird, hard-to-read eyes, that he has no idea.
It definitely is hard to hide your face paling a little bit as you realize what may have happened. But unfortunately, the
I don't know. The last thing I recall, I was working in the lab after bringing the Follingers down here, and then I guess I got tired and started to rest my head on the desk, and then when I woke up, I was sitting on the floor, laying against the wall by the elevator, and Des and Miss Follinger, not Miss Follinger, Miss Thrussell were looking at me real concerned. But and my chest hurt really badly. It wasn't anything as bad as some of the worst that Himmel did to me, but it still hurt.
further grimaces at the mention of Himmel damage.
I don't know how to put this.
But-
Jace, your body was with us for the past few hours.
What do you mean exactly? Was I being carried around by Rock and Prime?
No, you were walking on your own.
That's not funny.
No, it's not. I'm being
see if-
serious.
Let me check his thing, because I know he has Jack of all trades, but I want to see if he's got any points in that could help. Oh, he's got a lot of points in that.
Mm-hmm.
33 insight. Jace was already pale before he saw the stitches. He was more pale after the stitches, and he's even more pale now. Was I actively conversating with you? Was it clearly me who was active? I having memory lapses because of the nanomachines? Is that what's happening?
You were certainly active. Most of the AI weren't, though.
What? As long as my technopathy is functional, there's no reason why the AI should go down.
I don't think your technopathy was active.
So I was up and able to walk around, but I can't remember any of it. The fact that I was walking and the fact that my technopathy were down makes me think that the Slag nanobot manipulation experiment worked and my powers changed. Is there anything else? He looks around for a moment before the wall shifts and he pulls out like a little tablet that he starts taking notes on.
You're a blonde.
Blonde? This confuses him.
Well, unless the nanomachines were rearranging genetic material, or just simply altering the color of your hair. Yes, you were blonde.
Huh. I guess they theoretically could alter the properties of the melatonin in my hair, but that's certainly strange. All right. Any other noticeable differences?
You had a robotic arm and you were wearing a suit.
Can you describe the suit a bit? I recall seeing that after waking up from one of my blackouts. Not the physical suit itself, but a schematic of a suit.
I'll describe it.
Huh. So I lose consciousness, but I stay conscious. My powers change, and I guess I make new items to accompany that other me, among other things, I guess. And my hair turns blonde. I would assume
Just above board, were his eyes the same?
no, his eyes looked much more human. Like, clearly the internal part where the color would be normally would have the shifting blue lines that you would expect of Jace, but it was
Mhm.
just his pupils. It wasn't his entire eyes.
Your eyes were different too.
Huh. Alright. That's interesting. He will start making more notes and more notes, trying to document everything you guys experienced and have to add so that he's got something to work with.
He called himself Jules.
Jules. That's certainly interesting. Jules was one of the false names I used as a last name, although I don't think it was Jules as in like energy, was it?
He didn't exactly spell it out.
Fair enough, I guess. He will put it as Joules for now in his notes.
He told us that when you're asleep, you're asleep. When you're awake, he's awake as well. Just not on the forefront.
That's... So did the injection of the nanomachines cause the development of split personality? Or was that a side effect? He just starts meticulously taking notes and writing out the hypotheses that he can't really test because he's been asked not to experiment on himself. And at the very least, Jules, or rather not Jules, Jace is planning to take that seriously. You have no ideas if Jules will take that seriously. And The fact that Jace has no memory of cutting open his own chest leads you to believe that Jules absolutely will not take that seriously.
Yeah.
You will have to ask others about what happened, because obviously Jace doesn't know.
Yep.
He also said his brain was more like a computer than your brain.
I guess that could be how he does all the notes and designs things and builds things all at the same time. Admittedly, with my brain, just having a functioning level of technopathy is what allows me to keep the AIs functioning. But that's not like an active thing I control. The AI don't inherently think exactly the way I do. They're just able to think because of my powers. Admittedly, that's a lot to take in, but I apologize if there's anything that, well, anything that the other me did that was upsetting. I have no idea if they did anything in at all, but it's better to ask and be certain.
He made me angry.
That's not a good start.
Let's say he's just a bit more blunt than you are.
So not only is he a split personality in the sense of having a different thought process and powers than me, he's also literally a different personality from mine. That's good to know. Disconcerting, very disconcerting, but good to know. Okay, sorry, I'm doing my best to focus and take notes and all that, but my chest really hurts.
I think we've all had a pretty long day, even with your short-ish nap. I think it's about time for us to all rest.
Right. Sorry, I don't have anything more to share with you guys right now. Apparently, I missed everything.
Just don't experiment without at least either one of us or someone there to help you with it.
I'm not trying to experiment on myself, but yeah, it would probably be a good idea to have somebody on hand when I experiment in general. I will keep that in mind.
Hold on a moment. Well, then we'll try and change into our water form.
You don't have to try and take this pain away. I'll get over it. And you look like you've been in enough pain already today, so just you focus on getting better for now, all right? And I will, once I start feeling better myself, I'll start working on the project again to see if I can figure out the nanobots.
Maybe you should leave a note for yourself.
Was that at me or was that at Jules?
Both of you.
Okay. I'll try to
Talk to
leave
each
notes.
other, even if it's in between the blackouts.
I'll see what I can do on that front, although I have no idea if the other me will follow along. We'll just have to see.
And no, Chase, I am gonna take away your pain.
Are you sure? It's not that bad for me, because I've been...
I put a watery hand on him. And use healing. I need to look and
DM, would that
see.
be a will save on their part?
Yes, it will.
Okay. Okay, well, I got a dirty 20. So now it's the actual rolling, the healing roll.
On the plus side, you now have an idea how much it actually hurts, and you're like, you're
Yeah.
getting that moment of how the hell is he still sitting upright?
And once I take the pain from you, I just,
Mhm.
I sit down and I'm like against transient
Are
in
you
human
alright?
form.
All right, so in the sequence, so you've gone to heal Jace, and because you said yours was empathic, right?
Yep, mine is empathic and restorative.
The 20 was a will save, and the 21 was the healing check.
Mm-hmm.
Jace, the very harsh pain that you're feeling in your chest has dulled to almost a faint ache.
DM, that's 2 successes. I then get the next pressing issue on him as well.
All right, so Jace, what would be the next pressing issue aside from your chest wound?
What are the details of your empathic healing?
I touch a person in my water form and basically exchange the water between us.
Is it exclusively physical healing, or does it extend to mental stuff because of the empathic clause? I have no idea.
Uh,
I think
'Cause
for
it would-
this one, it is purely.
starting at the subject's worst condition and working down, as if the subject was recovering rapidly.
So it's physical conditions rather than
Mm-hmm.
mental conditions for this one.
I guess the next thing would probably be, man, that's gonna suck for Wilda, but the next thing would probably be the bones that were still in the process of fully fusing back together. Because obviously the nanomachines got them to where they were stuck in place and, weren't going to fall out into his chest, but that would take a bit longer than just a few minutes with the nanobots, even at regeneration 10 to heal.
Mm-hmm.
So between the skin and the skin and muscle, and the heart that was just like scraped. The bones also have to be fully reset. What sinews and nerve endings are being reattached, reformed, and are screaming. When Willa's water starts affecting you, the harsh pain that you are woken up with has dulled on not only the skin, the bone, and even the heart. Well, for a few moments, you get this excruciating, somewhere between burning and stabbing in your chest region.
Yeah, I mean, it
Oh,
doesn't break the bone in her chest, but it feels like it's broken.
yeah, it definitely feels like it had been moved and then reset back in place.
Definitely the how the hell was he conversating and sitting upright thing.
Yeah.
And thankfully, because it's through your powers, when you do feel the pain in the heart, it doesn't shock you as much as it did him when he actively started doing it. But
Whatever
it is. Oh, sorry. Go
was
ahead.
done, it was to your heart.
Oh, fun. That's not exceptionally disconcerting at all.
That said, Transient did clap again to try to heal you before or after. Edward? Transient?
Mm-hmm.
Was
He's
a
still in
healing.
it.
Sorry, what?
Mine was a 34.
Was it before or after she empathically healed Jace?
It would have been after, because he's trying to restore her back. So it would have been after she leaned back into him.
Thankfully, her water form is more accepting. And
No, I went straight back to human.
Okay, so you did go back to human. Thankfully, the spark this time doesn't clash with any water molecules or any ice barriers. It actually does tickle through her nervous system sensitively. And the colors start returning back to your arms at the very least. Remind me how your healing works again?
For me, I'm literally the transference of energy for this is it's literally in an instant breaking down and rebuilding the cells to how they're supposed to be. And no, you can't fill things down at the cellular level.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can't break things down the cellular level, but you
No,
can heal
you
them.
can't. You can't feel things at the cellular level.
Oh,
I
okay.
can break.
No.
I break things down at the molecular level and rebuild them from the ground up.
So
That's
there
how.
isn't.
That's how the alchemy works.
So there's only like a slight tingling before the pain that you are feeling in your arms from them being so cold almost evaporates. And while you're in Edward's arms, your arms start returning color in a steady enough fashion. The joints are a little stiff, but after working them, they don't feel
Yeah.
as painful or as tight as when you had
You
that
mean I can
frostbite.
actually feel them?
Yee. You can feel your joints again in your hands, at least. And the simulated pain that you were feeling in your chest does ebb away between your restorative powers and his ability to heal you.
I do not have regeneration in human form.
Hmm.
Yep.
When then it calms down to a dull ache after the arms return feeling. As I believe how he phrased it, small clap again and attempt to restore Wilda again.
Wilda will open her eyes after that and basically see Jace's eyes staring back at him.
That's new.
Hmm.
Oh, so you got Jace's bright blue electric eyes for a current moment?
Yeah. And we said it lasts about an hour after I actually heal someone.
Sounds good. So as you two stare at each other, and as Jace starts feeling less in pain,
Hmm.
we flicker back over to Spencer, who technically is still with Dahlia, Dahlia has made the suggestion to go check out the Rave House of Lost Souls, especially with the possibility of a possible connection to aliens. Spencer, how do you respond?
Sure, I'll go check it out.
She will give you the direction, as she does fully recall where it was. And of all the places you find yourself going back to, you head back to the one place that at that time you were there, all of your friends had wanted to get out after getting so far in. You find yourself at the one apartment complex that on the outside looks normal, but on the inside you recall has several floors knocked out and had been turned into one multi-layer makeshift mansion.
I remember.
So you point that out to Dahlia that you remember. You even remember how one of the windows was actually false and not actually depicting something. Roll me an intelligence check.
That's a flat D20. Let's see how this will go. That's a 17.
Thankfully, it's easy for you to remember as you go up past the first floor. You see a gentleman who you last recall was just looking slobby in like a white wife beater shirt and maybe some trunks, just sitting in his chair. This time he's actually standing up, looking around in his kitchen, just like minding his own business. You go up to second, third, fourth. I think we agreed fifth floor is when you see the same guy again, but this time just vibing in his chair like he did the last time. And that's when you remembered, oh, wait a minute, this is a false window.
Yep.
You enter through the false window and start showing Dahlia around as the room itself, perturbably enough for this. I believe we were in the afternoon, right? Or is it still the morning?
Probably the afternoon, unless you don't want, time to progress.
Unless I what?
Unless you don't want time to progress.
Yeah, well, no, we'll say it's in the afternoon. It's at the afternoon at this point as you start noticing that there isn't that many people. Um, at least there's not been much trash than where you last saw. It's like they started picking up the place.
Okay,
But
I'll go ahead and make my way towards the door that I know is special.
you make your way back down to the over to the door on the third floor. Once more, it's still there. You can barely see some of the magical runes still etched into the dark wood itself, and it still sounds almost quiet. Like whatever is on the other side is heavily muffled.
I understand that. I will go ahead and I will try and open the door.
This time the door does open without fighting, without any problems. On the other side, where you had previously seen it packed, body to body, chest to back, and full on, just like alive. The room is a little bit more spacious, as there's only like a few bodies in there that don't seem to be fully into the music that's playing. Some of them are just standing around, straggling. Some are reading books. Others are staring off into space. There's one particular person who is attempting to DJ, but when you last were here, it was not a guy who was DJing. It was a female.
Yeah, he's trying to get some party going, but there's no party going.
Yep. Bless his little heart.
Well, let's see here. There are people reading books. There are people standing around. Is the girl I saw last time there?
Not the current moment. Honestly, as you think back, you could have sworn you saw her really recently.
Really?
Yeah, as you turn to Dahlia and begin describing what you recall of the lady that was, doing the electro dance music. Remember her funky hairstyle, like that one person that was landing on the roof had. Notice that she was kind of skinny, like that one person who was floating on the roof was. She was. Uh, she seemed to have a very relaxed emotion, just like that person on the roof was. And you know what? I think she has similar taste in clothing because that one shirt with the giant heart on it, you could have sworn would match the same pants that the other person was wearing that had like a heart on each knee. Dahlia is the one that looks over and goes, "Wait, could that have been the same person?" I'll need a wisdom check, man. Or not wisdom, is it wisdom? Nope, intelligence. Give me an intelligence check. Suddenly quiet. Am I talking about?
That's an 8.
I mean, to be fair, Transient and I aren't here, so yes, we're gonna be quiet.
Fair point. There's a moment where you think on it, Spencer. The two do seem very familiar. The two seem almost alike? It's almost like they're, and you vocally announce, "Could they be twins?"
Yep. Nah, they're just good friends. The
Dahlia,
aliens, they're cloning people. No, I'm kidding.
Dahlia goes to say something, but stops before she realizes, I'm not even sure. I don't even think I asked her if she had a sister. She might.
Maybe.
So as you look around, go ahead and give me a perception check.
Alrighty then. That is a natural 1.
Hey, DM, I
Hey.
hate to do this, but I think Dahlia should actually be here for this.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh,
I love the
Yes.
idea that the natural 1 is. Wait a minute. Something's wrong with Dahlia.
like, oh, you're right. We should be looking for aliens. And look, there's an alien right there in the form of a cake. Yay, cake! And that's where we'll stop there.
No, it's even funnier than that. It's like the aliens. They're making me believe this chocolate cake is right in front of me, but I need to make sure. Takes a bite out of it. It seems pretty real, but I can't be sure unless I have another bite. This continues for several hours.
And thank you, folks, for watching with us once more.
Thanks for coming by.
Thank you
Thanks for
folks
stopping in the
by.
neighborhood.
will more than likely attempt to finish this in, I can't believe I'm saying this, part 4 of the in between. And heaven
Okay.
willing, we'll be able to start the chapter after that, immediately after that.
Listen,
Welcome to the filler episodes that are actually important.
Yeah.
Listen,
I remember the
chapter.
last.
Go ahead.
I remember the last time we did filler episodes. I made some houses explode. That was also pretty fun.
Yeah, chapter 9.5 is going pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely. Wait, which episode caused the house to explode?
Don't worry
Uh,
about
you
it.
need
Technically, we didn't record that, but that was the first time we used the belt.
Oh, the time I wasn't here for. Excellent.
Yes.
Made some houses explode. Triggered
Good night,
Varangian's
everybody.
ultimate attack.
Night,
See ya.
Bjorn.
Night.